that's perfect. That's smart. Perfect. Tim, that's awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this. We've got so much to do today. You would like to get a chance to get started. Okay. Yesterday you took a test. No, I haven't graded it yet. I'm not that good. But I did look at most of them, and they mostly look good. If you forgot to pick up the math workshop, which a lot of us did because I had a lot of extra copies of it, if you don't have this, it's in the 13. If you don't have this, it's in the 13. Okay, let's go over these factoring problems. They're really not factoring. They're really just greatest common factor ones. But, hey, that's the first thing I think of anyway. Is there something that I can pull out of all three terms? Because if there is, my God, you make your life so much easier. So much easier. Okay, and I'm super excited because today is our first day to truly be discrete. So excited about it. Okay. I did not give you number strips. I'm all over it. Every group should end up on high numbers today. It's a very high points kind of day. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Last period, they got my nerves, so they did not end up with high points. You got this. I'm going to own it like that. Okay, let's see. Are there any volunteers for number 1? Yes, Lauren.
I don't know if this is correct, but 9y and then.
And what's left?
3y plus 2.
That's correct. The 9y was what they both had in common. She factored it out. She was left with 3y plus 2. A point for Lauren's group. A group for Lauren's group. That makes so much sense. Okay, number 2. Any volunteers to number 2? Yes, Brittany.
Alright. So, do you do the 2 parentheses things?
No. Was there a greatest common factor? Like, is there something that you can pull out of all three terms?
2.
2 and then what else?
2ab.
2ab, and then what would be left inside the parentheses?
2ab. No, negative 2.
Yes, and you caught yourself. Good. Next.
And then negative 4. And then
Negative 4.
Oh, negative 4b.
B, and then what? Plus what?
1.
Plus 1, and she remembered that plus 1. Good. There was someone last period who asked exactly what Grant's about to ask. Oh, okay. Yes, too. Oh, okay. Perfect. And you can have a point for that. For Brittany answering the question. But anyway. If you wanted to pull out a negative 2ab instead, and you had all different signs, positive 2ab, plus 4b, minus 1, that's okay too. Either one's okay. It's up to you. It was someone last year that asked that. And some people like to factor out a negative just because they think it's going to make their life easier. It ends up changing everybody's sign, which I think makes life harder. But I mean, I roll with it, so I thought I'd throw that out there. And then number 3, Grant was wanting to volunteer for. Go ahead, Grant.
3. Take out 3.
Okay, what am I left with?
Parentheses 5w minus v.
5w minus v is perfect. And his group can have a point. I'm hoping a different group's going to volunteer for number 4. Number 4. I was hoping a different group was, and they're not. Oh, Lord. Somebody, table 1's going to rock them all if you don't. Okay, well, let table 1 rock it. Table 1, go ahead. Number 4.
Do you take out a negative 1?
You do not have to take out a negative 1. There is something that all 3 have in common.
U and T.
U and T. So if you factor out a UT, what is left?
7UT.
7UT, and then what?
Plus 21T.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 1.
Uh-huh. You know, when I first saw that one, I thought we were going to get to factor out a 7 because of 7 and 21. But that last term is not a multiple of 7, so we couldn't. If it had been minus 14 UT or minus 7 UT, it would have worked. But darn it, it's not a multiple of 7, so the best we could do was factor out a UT. Okay, and your group gets a point for that. And Lauren, that was fast. Number 5, Lauren. Take out a 5x, so what are you left with?
3 plus 5x.
That is perfect. And then we get to our last one, number 6. And you're not going to like how easy I make this one. Yes, Grant?
W.
That's exactly what I was going to do. Are we on the same page or what? Okay, I was going to just take out a W. Now, me and Mr. Moore debated this one because we get that we're rather lazy people. And maybe someone took out a 0.2 instead. I just thought there's a decimal. I'm not messing with it. I'm only pulling out the variable. That was my thoughts. But, you know, if the problem had been 16W squared plus 6W, you would have told me to factor out a 2W. So in my mind, should we maybe factor out a 0.2? I don't know. I just can't. I don't want to. But again, if it's an ACT question, it's multiple choice. You could figure out what they factored out. And one way you could check yourself with factoring? How can you make sure that this really is the right answer? You're doing the hand motions. What is that called? And what is this? What do we call that when we reverse it and we actually go? Yeah, so let's distribute. Let's go back through it, and you have a point for it. Let's go back through and distribute. If we distributed this back out, we could say, hey, did I really, or it should have been 8W, did I really end up with what I started with? And at that moment, I wouldn't have. 2 times 8 is 16, 16W squared, 2W, that would have been plus 6W. And any of the problems you and I worked, I don't know why I'm stuck on my made-up one. Any of the problems you and I worked, we could check ourselves by distributing. And if it was a standardized test, I probably would just go straight to the answer choices and distribute with those rather than trying to factor myself. Does that make me lazy? Probably. Okay, I'm going to steal Caitlin's book since she's not here. In your textbook, turn to page 2. It says 1.1 activity, crossing the bridge. Crossing the bridge. Okay, so let me explain how textbook world is going to work for us. To make this very clear. Your group has to be participating and trying, and I mean all of you, in order to automatically get to the 5 for today. If your group is participating and trying, then I will probably move you to the 5. And if it's a really hard day, I'll probably give you extra for persevering. If your group finishes early and you're looking for something to do because you like to stay ahead of the game, there is a logic puzzle up here. But you should probably make sure with me that you're done, because sometimes you think you're done and you're really not done. Life is just so hard. Okay, as for the textbook, even though you're working with all your people, and all your people are gonna, you're gonna discuss the answers with them, and I do totally get that. So it is kind of silly, but I don't remember this after I see you. So if Sarah doesn't write answers for 1.1, I don't actually know that Sarah did 1.1. So she needs to, I get she's going to have mostly the same answers as her group because they're working together. But if she doesn't physically write some answers down, I don't know what was wrong with her. Especially if it says explain, she better have explained. Because I do grade your textbook assignments. I probably will let this one go just because it's our first one, but I normally look at them after you leave, see what Brittany said, see what Sarah said, and give you a grade based off how hard you tried within it. Okay. Yes, dear.
Grades based off of what?
Like, did you answer all the questions? Did you do all the parts? As the year goes, you're going to get lazy on me. But for now, we're going to start off strong. I can feel it.
What if we all everybody said something else?
That's fine. That's fine if Brittany's group all worked with Brittany. But if Brittany did all the work and everyone else wrote 0.29 because Brittany said it was 0.29, that's the problem. Because you realize eventually there's going to be a test with a similar weirdo scenario, and you're going to have to persevere and figure it out yourself, and you won't have Brittany's brain. So if she's in your thought process this whole time, you're SOL. Okay? Every day I give you like a goal, and some days we're not going to make the goal. Today our goal is number 4. Not every single group last period made it to number 4. I know that sounds silly. I only want you to get 1 page done, but there's a lot of work required in this 1 page. Okay, so I made a note to myself to discuss a tree diagram. Let me make a suggestion to you. If I'm going to go over how to make a tree diagram right now, how do I think is best to solve this problem? Using a tree diagram. Then why did no one last period use the tree diagram? And then when I showed them the tree diagram, they were like, duh. So let me discuss a tree diagram with you. I think a tree diagram is a useful way to store information. I think it's useful to store options. Store options. Lord Jesus, Miss Compton can't write today. Useful to store options. Okay, what do I mean useful to store options? I'm going to go super girly on you. And this is how a girl's brain works, just so you know. So once I pick out my shoes in the morning, the specific pair of shoes I pick kind of limits me on my outfit choices. Once I picked these flats, I knew I was wearing pants. So once I picked my shoes, I knew today it was either going to be black pants or brown pants. You don't have to write this if you don't want to. I just want to explain how a tree diagram works. So again, I knew today it was going to be either black pants or brown pants. And then, I'm kind of limited on my tops depending on the pants that I choose. Because I have this cute polka dot shirt, but it doesn't look good with my brown pants. So I would never wear that shirt with my brown pants. But I have a white shirt that looks good with either. So I might wear that white shirt with my brown pants. And then I have a pink shirt. And it looks good with both too. So I might wear the pink shirt too. Pink shirt. And again, I get that this is silly, but this is how I think through my decisions in the morning. Once I decide this, that leads me to that. And I'm sure you're the same way. Once you pick a certain food, you want to drink a certain drink, or these certain sides must go with the food. A lot of us use that whole natural, logical reasoning in our everyday life. We just haven't had to apply it to a problem before. Okay, I think life is useful to store like this, but I get this is rather silly, because if we're telling the honest truth, the other day I kind of had a laundry incident, and I kind of ruined my brown pants. So I can't do that anymore. I can't wear those. Those options are no longer existing. And in some way, in the activity we're about to do, some of the options you're going to consider, you're going to know are bad ones. Like, I should not do that. That's a bad idea. It's not going to work if I knew that. Okay, so again, I think a tree diagram is useful to store options. Your tree diagram does not have to be this complicated in life. In fact, for today, we're doing an activity where we pick people with alphabet names. Yes, dear?
Do we have to do the problems with the tree? Do we absolutely have to?
You don't absolutely have to solve with a tree diagram, but I'm going to explain it with a tree diagram. I think it's easiest to figure out the solution with a tree diagram, but do you have to know? But the mistake of last period is most people gave me the wrong answer because they didn't think through their options. Okay, so I'm going to read this scenario to you in a second so we can discuss it. But our book is very smart in that they purposely named the people Alfred, because it starts with an A, Bruce, Kathy, and Doug. So do I actually expect you to remember their names are Kathy and Doug? No. I probably call them C and D. So what's going to happen in a few minutes after we read the scenario is that you might send Alfred and Bruce together, and then you decide to send Bruce and Kathy, and then Kathy and Doug. Like, you can think through your options, and then I'm not even being correct because I technically have to send Bruce back. So you might want to make a list like this. I think it makes the problem easier. That is my suggestion. But as Sarah asked, is that absolutely necessary? No. But when I come to Sarah's group and all she has written on her paper is 23 minutes, I don't know where that came from. So she either has to explain to me where it came from or something like this so I can say, you shouldn't have sent Alfred and Bruce first. You shouldn't have done this. So I can make a suggestion. Okay, and you're like, Miss Compton, I don't know what the crap you're talking about. So let's read it. Okay. So these 4 people, they were coming back to their village in the middle of the night. All of our scenarios are going to be weird. Just roll with it. Okay, so they're coming back to their village. It's the middle of the night. They have a tiny bridge to the town, and it's so small, only 2 people can cross it at the same time. So you can't send more than 2. And it's only safe to cross, so we should probably underline that. 2 people cross at the same time. It is only safe to cross if someone is holding a flashlight. Someone's holding a flashlight. And then darn them, they only brought 1 flashlight. So what does that mean since they only brought 1 flashlight?
Only one person is safe.
Someone's going to have to return. So if you send Kathy and Doug, then you're going to have to send either Kathy or Doug back to get the other people because you have to send someone back with the flashlight. You have to. That's the problem. Okay, so they have this flashlight, and someone will have to return with a flashlight before 2 or more people can cross. That sounds easy. You're like, okay, Miss Compton, ACDC, I'll send BC, and then B's back, and then AB. You're like, I got this. Not so fast. as you know in life, we're not all born with the same God-given speed, sadly enough. So, Doug, bless his little heart, takes him 10 minutes to cross this bridge. 10 minutes, Lord Jesus. Kathy only takes 5. Bruce, he can skip across in 2, and then Alfred is a bullet. He can cross in a minute. And then, sadly, the most important sentence is the last one. Unfortunately, when you cross the bridge with someone else, you can only cross the bridge at the speed of the slower person. Now, that sentence sounds annoying, but you get that's true. If Forrest is walking an old lady across the street, and it's nighttime and he's the one holding the flashlight, he's going to go as slow as the old lady to make sure she can see. It makes sense that they're going the slower of the 2 speeds. I'm sorry for that. So basically, if you send fast old Alfred with slow old Doug, you're super slowing Alfred down. What he could have done in 1 minute is only now taking him 10. I'm sure he's super annoyed too. Okay, so the first 4 questions is what you're going to try. I'm going to walk around and try to make suggestions for you and your group. Every group's going to get to a 5 as long as you're trying.